Following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL. There's Willie Mason.
That's forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome to episode number 22 of the Take With Willie and Iain. Hello, William.
What's happening?
Mate, it's warm. It's nice. I've got the T-shirt on.
Yeah, it is nice. Apparently it's going to piss down rain this afternoon, so it could ruin everyone's day, but I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to rain.
No.
It's 22 degrees.
Everyone just says it rains now.
They just hedge all their bets if you work for the weather, don't you?
Definitely raining.
There's a chance it could rain, but it's sunny.
What does that even mean, a chance? Of course there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying.
That's all it is.
Everyone's just... No one knows. Those people get everything wrong too, the weather. I would love to. It's like
no
us
accountability. It's the worst job in the world. Show.
Big shout out. big week for testicles actually this week with Tom Dearden rupturing his testicle. And Harris DeVita from... That's 2 nuts gone. Wow. It's a year of the ruptured ball bag, isn't it? 2022.
Damn, 2020, hashtag year of the ruptured ball bag.
Everyone should just really start wearing... Remember whenever you had the jock straps?
It's going to have to start
Bring
coming
back the jock straps.
What did you? I mean, you know a little bit of medical stuff. What does that entail? Like how long are you out for? How do you heal a ruptured testicle?
I think you got.
Is it just like a severe hit to it?
Yeah. So he's obviously cut one of the kanakas, and then one of them's just.
Could it be a knee? Could it be a shoulder? Could it be anything like that?
Yeah, could be anything.
Oh wow, man!
It's I had a mate who was playing rugby who got he was in a ruck.
Well, he's got his nuts rucked. That's different.
He got his nuts rucked, and then one of them popped out the bottom, and he didn't realise.
Oh man!
But yeah, I think with the rupture, that's the end of the nut, isn't it? It's back to
no kids.
One ball. No, it's sweet for that. I think they're all sweet for that.
Imagine having one nut, Henry, just for the rest of your life.
Imagine.
How do you feel, Henry? I think the producer's got one nut as well.
Henry.
Craig's got one nut, you know that?
Yeah, he does. We're just helping Henry's metadata here. He's looking up one testicle. It'll go with all the furry stuff he looks up.
I don't want to look at his search engine.
No. I'm surprised.
FBI will be here.
No one's rated us yet. One bit of good news is that the Brighton Seagulls under 13s, we sponsored the Brighton Seagulls last year, right, and their under 13s have made it to the grand final this weekend. So ooh. I'm not saying we're directly responsible for that, but it's pretty much.
Where's it at? I'll find out. They can.
We could find
maybe
out.
Message us on our website, masonstake.com.
Be on Sunday, wouldn't it? Because they play
I've got
Sunday,
nothing to do. I'm not doing anything. So
all right, we might go and have a look.
I'll have a look.
Yeah. All right, well, there you go. We'll find out. So congratulations to the Brighton Seagulls. Well done. Team, good stuff. All right.
Well done, boys.
William, it's funny, you know, we talked last week and it's got a fair bit of traction on the old Instagram face.
Instagram
thingy, but I don't know if it's made it TikTok
was that about
yet.
The Paul Green, everything that we'll talk about?
Yeah, your mental health stuff was really well done, and also the social media side of it. And then we filmed this on Wednesday last week, and then interestingly, the
Paulo
Thursday game,
on Thursday, right?
and I guess because I was thinking about it more, and I think about what sort of a dirtbag sends a death threat to a footballer who had a bad game. I just cannot understand the mentality.
Is it a death threat?
Death threat. Multiple death threats. It's like on the back
Henry, does anyone know what they actually said? Or they've already kept that under wraps? It's not the point. It's death threats to a young kid who obviously didn't play his best. Do you think that Jaxon Paulo doesn't know that he played, not his best game? He's probably his harshest critic. He doesn't need to hear. Last week. That's where you got to take these people who do this sort of shit as a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Like, you're just a piece of shit loser. Shut up. I don't really give a shit what you say. But when it's death threats,
yeah, it's heavy.
You don't really know, because the guy could be a psycho South supporter or whatever. I'm not sure. So I think you got to take it a little bit more serious. If they're just bagging your game and saying all this kind of stuff, but like death threats, come on, man. Like, who are you people, man? Like, they should be the cops should be investigating this stuff. Trying to get who these people are, because you just don't know in today's day.
Yeah.
Is that it? Today's day.
Especially the day today.
The day today. People are psychos.
Yeah.
They're really passionate. They're nut jobs. And like, you got to take this a little bit more serious, because they are death threats. It's not just like you play bad, this and that. You can cop that easy. But when it's like that, Jaxon Paulo walks around the streets when he's not playing football. The kid could be down in Maroubra, he could be wherever he's from, and if that guy psycho sees him, I'm not sure if I trust that.
Well, the other thing as well, Will, what people don't really, people might have talked about it, but I haven't heard them talk about it. Gambling now in rugby league, you turn on the footy and you got the sports bets odds, you got all of these things, right? And we talk about punting and that sort of thing, but there are people where gambling takes over their lives, and so you've got these people that are then losing money because whatever happened, they backed South head to head, or they backed Jaxon Paulo as any try scorer or whatever, and you get these people on social media going directly to players, going, "Oh, you stuffed my multi," or "You stuff like."
You need therapy, man.
What's the answer to that? Because people will gamble, people are going to lose. It's not the player's fault. They don't know that you've got your whole house riding on the result of one game.
Perfect example. I was in that position because my bet last week, if South had won, we would have won.
Well, we just found out he gave the death threat to Jaxon Paulo, didn't we?
But I'm just saying, I would have. It didn't bother me at all. I'm like, oh damn, it's only because we win money for the kids and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm just like, I was more spewing, but it didn't really cross my mind to write a death threat to South. Like, I just don't think what sort of human being you are. You as I said last week, you are a proper loser if you're sending death threats to a young kid who's trying his ass off every single week, trying to be better. You just have games like that. And that's just how it is. Like, he doesn't deserve this kind of stuff, man. Especially after all. See, this is what I mean. Like, most people just are so unaware of things with the Paul Green situation, with everything that's going on in society. And this happens, 2 days after we start talking this, the week of Paul Green's tragic death. And you still have the audacity and the mindset to even come at a kid like Jaxon Paulo and start giving him death threats. Like, if the police are out there, man, just do something. Try and find these guys.
What do you reckon?
And what could actually happen even if you do find the guy?
Well, that's the thing. I look at Latrell Mitchell, and Latrell Mitchell was really good at, especially with the racist stuff that he was having a cop last year especially, but someone would put something up on, Latrell, you're this or you're that, and he'd post it up on the thing and he'd say, what about this dirtbag?
And then people just have Latrell handles these, like his leadership and his maturity over the last couple of years. I've got to commend that young kid. He's under the most pressure all the time. He's a leader of that Indigenous community, and as a player, him and Cody Walker, and they are very proud Indigenous brothers, and I love both of them. They do such good work in the community. They do everything. After the game, I think they went out to Wagga, and they drove out to Wagga to do like a coaching clinic. Do you know what I mean? Doing things like that for their community. I love that kind of stuff, but he's a leader on and off the field. So I've got to commend both those players there. And when he cops a lot of racist bullshit, and he just screenshots it and puts it on his story.
Yeah.
Because then I think he's got 200,000-300,000 followers, and he will just let society handle them. And they get absolutely hammered, these blokes, and then they end up, changing their account and, getting off social media. Like, I think that's a fair way to do it. But there needs to be a stop to this. I'm not sure if it's ever going to stop. It's getting worse by the looks of it.
Well, people set up burners, don't they?
Well, they do set up burners.
You don't have to give your details or anything. Like, I could just set up and say I'm Dave Simmons, and set up a dummy, burner account.
And fake profile pic, fake profile pic. Yeah, it's just like, it could be anything. It's like, I think they need Instagram, Twitter, all these. You need to be, I said it a couple of years ago, you should be able to be verified. They should have all your details, emails, everything like that. Like, I'm not sure, do you have your phone number or, I don't know,
But you could set it up with
to be verified. But to be verified, so people can get held accountable for shit like this. Otherwise, this bullshit will just keep going, because I just keep setting up accounts. It's all about money, and Instagram don't really give a shit, do they? They don't. Twitter doesn't give a shit.
No, they wouldn't care.
Yeah. It's just like, it's not a big deal to Instagram, because all it is money to them. And, young kids are losing their lives over this. They're all depressed. There's anxiety problems. There's so many issues in this world at the moment, strictly from social media. I mean, it's different from us, man. Like, I'm 42 years old. You're 43, 44, 50. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and we went through no social media, and now we sort of, we use it for a platform for this, and that's it. This is all I use it for, is for rugby league and all that kind of stuff. I don't promote shit. I don't do anything. I'm easy, but these whole kids don't know anything but social media. Like I know if I don't want to use it, I just get off it for a couple of months.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's easy for me. I don't
But
really care.
they've grown up with it, haven't
That's
they?
what I'm
Like,
saying. But we
yeah,
don't. Like our whole
I don't
20s, we
care.
didn't have it.
Yeah.
For our teenage years, we didn't have it. And it's
God.
like, so it's different for us. So we can sit here and like, we don't really know. We just try and understand it because we are on social media, but we just don't use it and live on it like most people. Like these other young kids, if you're like born in, just say 2008 or something like that, that's when iPhones and that sort of come out. You don't have nothing but an iPhone. We come from that era where we had to pick the phone up. We didn't even know who the fuck it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I had to talk in front of your whole family. Oh,
When
5
you had-
sisters and 2 brothers.
when
Could
you-
be,
when you
could
had a
be, could be
girlfriend.
someone. Could be a girl from school.
Yeah.
My dad would answer the phone.
ring- you
Hey,
ring
really?
home
A girl's on the phone? Take the piss out of me. I'm like, I don't want that. No, I'm not home. I'm not home. You know what I mean? I got 5 sisters taking the piss out of me. I'm like,
The
I've
old
never give
Telstra
my
phone.
number out.
The
Old
old
Telstra
Telstra.
thing, and it was in the middle of the lounge room.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in your room
No.
when these kids are in. It was embarrassing as hell, all right? So I'd never give my number out to anyone unless it was my mates. Do you know what I mean? So, like, because it's a whole different era. That's where we're from. And then, like, it didn't hit us till, like, 2008, 2009. We're grown men.
Yeah.
We're 30 years old. We're 28. We already sort of know what sort of people we are. We have our morals and principles and shit. So social media is never really going to get to our sort of era, our generation, because we know who we are. You're a 15-year-old kid, you're getting bullied online, you're doing all this kind of stuff. It's hard for these young kids, man. It's hard for a 20-year-old footballer. He doesn't know anything but social media as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So all he's looking at is comments and Snapchat and Twitter and this and that. Like, as I said to everyone, you got to block out that noise. Compartmentalize. Understand. You're a rugby league player. You know what I mean? But you're a human being first.
Because in the old days, when you were playing, in the olden days, but,
Shut up, mate.
But like if you look at like mid 2000s, right? Like if you wanted to find out what the fans were saying to you,
You have to get online.
you'd have to get online and you'd have to actively search out, right? And there were certain players.
No, I'm going to say, the worst was Rennie Matua.
Oh, you've just chucked him straight
No,
up.
I'm going to chuck him under the bus because it's hilarious. Because I always block the noise out because I don't give a shit what fans think, what other people think. I only care about what the coach is thinking and my players. And Ren will be on this thing called the kennel, which is a shout out to the kennel. But this is when they're like, blah, 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 blah. They'll start hammering players and all that kind of stuff. And we prefer an era where we rarely played some bad football. But if it was a bad game, and then Ren goes, oh, I should have seen someone said about you on. Shut the fuck up, Ren.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know it. You know what I mean? He'd say something, and everyone's just like, because everyone had that mentality. If you don't read it, you don't know about it. You
That's
don't
what it
care.
was. Yeah.
You know, if there was a shit in the Telegraph, I'm not reading the paper. Oh, and then someone would send it to, really, you're on the back page? Shut up. Do you know like, I know I'm on the fucking back page or something like that, as long as it's not on the front page. So when you start making news, that's when you fucked
That's when
up.
it's a problem.
Sports, I'm all good with the sports page. I don't care. But if it's front page, like I never really got on the front page, but back page, who cares? Could be good or bad, whatever. I'll just look at if it was a good shot or not. Because I didn't actually read what they had to say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But Ren was like reading on this. Ren, get off those little chat lines. You know what I mean? They're sitting there going to fucking hammer you and it'll fuck with your head.
Worse, you had to go and find it too.
Like
Like
it's just in the
not opening your Instagram.
www.bulldogs kennel, like now I see the kennel, they're going good on there. They always say some positive stuff, but back then they could hide behind that and start hammering you. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
But it was that's the only time that we could actually figure out if I actually wanted to go online and like see what people were saying. I don't care what they're saying.
No.
Figure out what we're going to do this week.
Yeah. I don't think, and that's the thing.
It's funny, like when you think about it, because that's the only way that we knew. You could put us in. I think Ren was the first. Like Ren was the first one on all that shit. He like MySpace and then Facebook. I didn't know what anything was. I didn't know how to work it. I didn't want to be on that because I'm private in my life. Instagram, he showed, get on Instagram. I said, what is Instagram? Because just take photos and shit, and then people just sort of, what? I was like, I didn't get it. I was
When
like,
you explain it, it just
when you
sounds
explain,
so
it's like
dumb.
you just
put
take a
photos,
photo. He
what?
goes, just take a photo and you upload it, and then people can look at it and like it or comment on it. I was like, sounds fucking stupid.
Stupid.
That'll never kick off.
It is
never.
stupid, yeah.
It'll never kick off. And he goes, well, they did. Yeah, and he goes, yeah. And I said, okay. Well, I didn't get on it until like I think maybe 2000 and like.
No, you were late.
12?
Yeah, you were late on it.
You know what I mean? Like when I first got back from, I think when I went to France.
Yeah.
For 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I just didn't really care for it. Ren was on it since 2008, I think.
At the kennel.
I don't know when it come out. But like, yeah, a few of the guys were, but we weren't really worried about that. As I said, like, I think we just didn't care. We honestly just did not care about what anyone thought, apart from close friends, coaches, and that's all. And that's all that should matter. Like, you can't go around trying to please everyone. If I was like that, if I actually thought about what people thought about me, and I was actually really worried about that, I'd live in a fucking cave. I'd move to fucking Mexico or something. I'd be like, otherwise imagine if I had those issues. I'd be like, oh, I wonder what he's thinking of me. I think I don't give a fuck. Well, I don't care. I don't care. I don't know that guy. You don't know me. Whatever the perception is, whatever. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for them to even have that preconceived judgment of someone. Like, I feel sorry for people like that. I do. I look at it, I pity them.
Well, I'll tell you who you pity, and I'll tell you who should be living in a Mexican cave is the West Tigers.
You again and the Tigers.
Do you know what, though? I'm actually going to stick up from here. They have been decimated with injuries, and they lost 3 blokes.
72-6.
It's bad. It's a bad score line.
It's like an NRL team.
It's a bad score line. And it was funny because I was at a function on Saturday night. My young bloke went to the game, and he was sending me these messages, and he was like, every 5 seconds, oh, Crichton got one. Oh,
Crichton's on fire. So we'll talk about Crichton. You know, he did the reverse on everyone. He was playing shit, and once he gets a deal, he's the best back row in the world. Where people come off contract, they start killing it, and then they get their money, and then they get paid. He reversed it.
I actually
he goes, I'm going to play pretty ordinary at the start of the year, and then just back myself, and then fucking sign me, and now I'm going to be the best back row in the world.
I actually love with Crichton. He's come out and he's gone, I've just signed a deal and I'm excited. I'm now that's not hanging over my head. I can play some good footy. And I was like, that's normally code for like going missing for the next couple of years.
No,
he's come out. He was very upset.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Like, I think Crichton's one of the best back rowers in the comp when he's on. Like, at the start, I think he was a little bit off the pace. I'm not sure if it was an injury. I'm not sure if he was unhappy with not getting a deal at the straight away. He ended up forcing his way back into Origin. I would have picked him in the first Origin as well, him and Jake, because he's that sort of player. You can rely on him. He's tough. He's solid. He's got good skills, fast, strong, fit. Like, he ticks all the boxes to be a good back rower. So I'm glad he got his deal, and he's a real leader of that side now.
You watched that game. I didn't. I was on the drink as per usual on a Saturday, but I watched that. You watched that game. Did West Tigers give up, or were they just decimated with injuries? And because everybody, like, you can see the Tigers fans, like the Tigers fans, they're the classic long-suffering fans, right? But there's been, obviously, there was a post-game incident with Adam Dewey, and some fan obviously gave him a spray and he gave it back, that fiery Lebanese blood of his. But Tamou was obviously...
Jimmy Tamou, yeah.
He was obviously extremely frustrated with the whole thing because that's not his go.
No.
So they've... Like, if they didn't care... They wouldn't be blowing up.
It was a scoreboard that was just kept ticking over, and they just couldn't stop the bleeding. I can honestly say I've never been in a position like that. No one's ever put 70 on us. So I think the most I've been beaten by is maybe 30 or 40. You know what I mean? I think when we were all decimated as well. Like, they had injuries. They had one person on the bench.
On the bench, yeah.
And the Roosters were on.
Yeah.
Like, they were on. When they are on, they can put that sort of score on you because they've got strike weapons everywhere, Crichton was on. Like, Sam Walker was on. There was just the tries that they were scoring by the end. It was just very, it was very soft. It didn't give in. No football player gives in. But as I said, like, it's just, if you're down that 10, 20%, you got three more good games. I mean, competition games to go. Can't make the 8. You just got to figure out a way to motivate yourself. You just got to do it. You got to do it. You're a pro. They expect something from you. They don't expect 72-6. Was it 72-6?
Yeah.
They expect something from you. You're playing in the best competition in the whole world. You got to make up excuses in your head to try and put that effort in. And I'm never going to say anyone gave up. Like, I think you'd be stupid if they gave up. Roosters were just on one. They were just unstoppable. They couldn't stop the bleeding. And then you see a guy like Jimmy Tamou. I think he got 2 or 3 weeks suspension, which was a bit weird.
Well, I think he'll fight it. So he's got no contract for next year. He's got 2 games to go in the season. I think if he fights it and wins or something, he can have, like, just let him play his last game. Like, if that's his last game, let him play, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he said. He obviously gave him a mouthful.
He called him incompetent and he put a swear word in.
You're fucking incompetent.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
That was the swear word.
I think...
Thanks for clearing that up.
Really got his... I don't know, the ref... I mean, I get it. Like, he shouldn't say that to the ref. You know, that's simple. It doesn't matter if you're an elder statesman in the game and if you're on your last sort of game. You know, the refs need to be respected. And saying shit like that hurts their feelings. You know what I mean? Like, and that would hurt anyone's feeling getting called that. You know, you fucking incompetent prick or some shit like that.
He should have waited till after the game and then put it on Twitter.
You would have been fine
And
on
then
his burner account. On his burner account.
His burner
But yeah, I think, you know, the heat of the moment, they don't take that into account. They don't. You know, I think he's captain of the club and, you know, it is his last year there. I'm not sure what he's going to do next year. I think he deserves another maybe 2-year deal somewhere else.
He'll probably go to Super League.
I still think he's got a lot of football left in him. He'd carve Super League to bits. I still think he's got some more NRL games. He just played his 300th. Maybe he wants a bit of a holiday. Maybe he'll retire. He's achieved everything in the game. Great person, great leader. But as I said, like that does not give you a pass. You know, like because look at the message that sends. You know, like to younger kids. Oh, that's James Tamou. He's supposed to be captain of the Tigers. Told a ref that he's incompetent fuckwit. You know what I mean? Like, and he's a senior player and he's the captain. So what the message that sends to all the younger kids watching is not good. So when you do suspend him and you make a bit of an example out, I think 2 weeks is too much. I think 1 week and a fine. I think that should be. I think that's sufficient.
Yeah,
don't you think?
Look, I mean, I agree.
1 week and $1,000. Hit him in the pocket.
It gives the like it shows that they're doing something, and it doesn't stop him from playing his last game. And let's be honest, like they're not.
I mean, I think if is he going to fight this?
I think he'd be crazy not to. I think he was very apologetic.
There's only 2 more games to go, right?
Only 2 more games, yeah. So
that's what I mean. If they say, I think it's 2 to 3.
If he doesn't fight it, he's gone. If he does fight it and lose, he's gone. Give him
1
a week.
week. Come on,
whoever's
1 week and fine him. That's all he needs.
And look, for Tigers fans as well, Appy Coruscant came out this week and said that he was more than happy to honour his deal, and he's a loyal person, and good on him rather than having a circus around Papali'i. But I think they'll both end up there.
Papali'i's not. He hasn't.
I think he's committed. I think he'll commit. But, you know, Coruscant's going to be good for them. So, Tigers, don't give in yet.
They both will be great.
They'll be
good.
Need
some stability. As I said, you just got to get through this year. Next year, you got Tim Sheens, you got Robbie Farah, you got Benji Marshall. They know the culture of the club. They'll get back to the way they play. Add some stars. They've got some really good young juniors there. Just got to be a little bit patient. It's just got to pick and stick. Let's just not keep fucking around, dropping people and all that kind of stuff. It's just Madge just hasn't been the right fit for him.
Just be 20 years patient.
Madge wasn't the right fit, and you know, Noddy's just trying to do his best.
Not the Dally M interim coach of the year. He lost that.
He lost
so
that.
Just quickly, before we move on, 2 quick things. We're going to talk about the blowouts, but I think we've sort of covered that. I just want to know, you've talked about it just a little bit before, if you're in a side that can't make the semis, right, and there might be a little bit of a bad feeling around the club, around coaching or whatever it might be, and you know you've got 2 more games, your body's sore, and then you get a break, how hard is it getting yourself up for those games where you've got to travel like to New Zealand, you've got to go over and play a nothing game against the Warriors where it's freezing cold and they want to bash you. And it is like for people, you know, when you have a bad day at work and you think, oh, I just don't want to go to work the next day. That's like this, except you're under the pump, spotlight-wise, you're under the pump physically, you're tired, you know, you're going to read Twitter and you're going to get hammered the next day.
This is where the coaching comes into it, and you got to make training fun. You've got to make it fun. You can't be flogging these blokes. You can't be giving them fitness. Training needs to be fun. Get something positive out of the end of the year. Have some self-pride, personal pride. Go out there, get your, you know, like you try and play your best every game. But the week leading into the game, training has to be fun. It can't be monotonous. It can't be the same old shit. It's got to be just playing like offside touch football, all that kind of stuff. No more wrestling, no more contact. Like it's round 24. It's all done. The year's over. Just try and finish the year off on a positive note and get through the games. It is what it is. This is why you're a professional player. I've been in a position like this. You just got to get through. Play your best football, end that year, get along with the next one. A lot of people got different things to play for. Some are off contract. You know, Jimmy Tamou would have been pissed off that what happened because he probably wants to prove himself the last 2 games. Some people have already signed a 2 or 3 year deal. Some people are off. You're young. You could be changing clubs. You would have a really ordinary year. You want to finish on a top note. So there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of people in different positions. Just know what position you're in. Get out there, have some fun, and just rip in and just try and win the last 2 games so you can have a good Mad Monday. Yeah. That's all I was thinking. I don't want to lose the last game because that's why you see a couple of upsets in the last games. Because those guys don't really want to go out on a losing note, and because this player's losing There's players leaving the club. All these sort of variables are happening, all these little things. And it's just like, you just got to get out there, rip in as hard as you can for each other. This is the last time you'll ever play with these players, ever.
Yeah.
Have that mentality. And that's got to come from the coach. The coach needs to drive that mentality in these last four to 5 games, even if most of these guys have been out of the running for about 4 or 5 weeks. Just like, you got to drive that sort of that culture and drive that, get those words into these kids' heads, because you don't know what you're going to get out of them.
All right, last one, quick. Like or don't like, Super Bowl style grand final, selling it around to the highest bidder.
I mean, I get it what Volandis is saying, but I'm like,
it's basically Suncorp or ANZ.
It's Suncorp, ANZ. I mean, what if the SFS, the cricket ground? No. Like, any AFL ground is going to suck. MCG is going to suck. Etihad, it's not too bad. I don't mind Perth, watching it at Perth, but I don't want to fucking travel 5 hours if I was a player. What else have we got? Adelaide.
They're not big enough grounds.
I mean, it's like Super Bowl, understand, 32 teams over there in the NFL, all 80-90% capacity, best stadiums ever. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's a different thing. That's why it's a big deal to get the Super Bowl. It brings in millions and millions and millions of dollars to that economy over there, and that whatever place it's in, if it's in LA, whatever city it's in, it's a big deal for it. It'll be similar here, but like, do you want to give it to Melbourne? Do you want to give Melbourne? Do you want to give it to Adelaide? The game's played on the east coast of Australia. This is not the fucking NFL or the NBA or soccer. Just stick to what's not broken, which is, like Suncorp or somewhere just along the east coast. You know what I mean? Like, well, why give it to Perth? That's just not caring about the players.
Send it to Qatar.
Yeah.
All right, there are a few games this week that are relevant to the Final 8, and there are a few games that are not. The Broncos and the Eels. The Broncos, after last week,
they've been poor, haven't they?
They have been terrible. And I feel for them because they have sort of got a lot of pride back in that jersey this year under Kevin Walters and the players that they've got, and Adam Reynolds has been great for them. The Eels were outstanding last week against the Bulldogs. They always play. They grow a leg at home, to be honest. But up at Suncorp, it's up for the Broncos to really start to bring this game back, I reckon, because they could struggle for the 8.
Yep.
If
there's a big points score here, I'm just looking at the ladder now. If the Raiders win, they're playing the Eagles. The Broncos lose, and if the score's over, if they can put a decent score on, they'll jump the Bronx.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they could possibly go from a top 4, like, to slip out of the top 8. You know what I mean? The Raiders are there, and the Raiders, they're playing some decent football. That win against Newcastle on Sunday,
they gutsed it.
Mate, they were down 14.
Yeah.
Up at Newcastle on a Sunday. Everyone going for, Newcastle's hard to beat on. They were playing some really good football, mate, and they end up coming back. So that shows some grit. So, that's going to be a hard game.
That is a tough game. And I think, the Eels are the sort of club, though, that will come out and play like they did last week and then come out and shit the bed this week. They're just that sort of club. So
the Bronx have got so much. I think they've lost 3 in a row now.
Yeah, yep.
It's not good.
It's not good. The Warriors against the Panthers. If you're a Warriors fan, I think start planning for next year.
Oh, that would have been said about 10 rounds ago.
Have a seance for Harris Tavita's nut. Bring it back.
Panthers. Is anyone back this week for the Panthers? Fisher Harris, maybe?
Yeah, he's back this week. They gutsed it last
haven't
week.
They just got that culture. I mean, I understand. It's like I thought Souths were going to win that game comfortably because, Melbourne got them 16-0 and with the exact same team, but they just got that culture out there. Moses Leota was outstanding. Isaiah Yeo was outstanding. Liam Martin was a beast. Kickout was back. The halves do their job.
Kickout struggles without Luai. Like he's such it's like he knows exactly where to hit
what line
lines,
to run, where to hit it.
But they've got to find him rather than the other way around.
Yeah, well, they're not going to be there. I mean, Luai's going to be back in a couple of weeks and Cleary's going to be back. So all those combos will be coming back. That's going to be an absolute flogging because I think this is one of their last games at Panthers.
The Storm Roosters, that's the game of the round. That is a cracking game. And it's a grand final replay. Remember when I said that last year? I just assumed the Roosters play the Storm every year. But
Are the Storm back?
Oh, look, I don't know. I think last week.
Sorry, so you get a 16-0 against Panthers, and then an absolute flogging against who they play?
Broncos. They
The
pumped
Broncos.
the Broncos.
Like they pumped them. Do you know what I mean? Like that is. I don't think we can question it that they're back.
I don't know
that
if-
they're not back.
I don't know if they ever left. Like, I think
They had about 4 or 5 shit games.
Yeah.
Really bad games. And everyone's like, oh my God, they're gone. They come back to the pack. Even I was thinking that. Then they lose Pappenhausen. And I'm like, that's going to be a big deal. And I'm like, fuck, now you got Munster back there and who are they putting at 5'8"?
Meany's sort of running there.
Meany's sort of doing that.
They just
like
swapped them
Jerome
around.
Hughes is fucking gun, man.
He's so good.
He's so underrated. He's so underrated. That try, there's a couple of soft tries against the Broncos, but like
Not
just
underrated.
His
like the Storm.
defense,
Yeah.
his defense is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. He's one of the best defensive halves. Him and Cleary. I reckon him and Cleary are the best 2 halves in the game at the moment.
I love a half wearing a headgear too. It means I'm going to tackle. Do you know what
I'm
I mean?
there, I'm here.
I'm wearing this.
But his kicking game's good. His leadership's great. Like the little things that he does, that what I watch as a halfback. That's how I want my halfback to play.
The Raiders and the Sea Eagles.
Should be good.
The Raiders, look, I tell you what, the Sea Eagles.
Saturday Arvo. That's not too bad.
Someone came. I didn't see who said it, but someone said Des Hasler's time's up. No more Des. What do you reckon? Gone?
Who's?
I don't know who
It's hard
said
to
it.
come by some good coaches if you.
Where are they going to find them? Who's replacing him? I love
That's
this.
what I mean. I think Des can pretty much coach wherever he wants. He's just understand. You lost the greatest fullback in the game. I mean, the greatest player last year, and he's to lose him, it was massive for him.
Mm.
You want Turbo there, and he's a big part of that team. He's a number 1 player. Him and Teddy are the best fullbacks in the world, and he's the best player in the world going off last year. I don't think Des is done. Who are you going to do? Please.
Cameron Ciraldo.
You're going to coach
gonna
the Dogs
coach-
and the Sea Eagles.
He's coaching.
He's the first one.
He's that good.
He's
coaching.
like Gallen fighting
He's having 3 fights in one night.
Hodjo. He's going to be the Paul Gallen of the NRL coaching.
He just can't coach the same team against
No,
each other.
no.
But if it's 2, he'll do it via
Yeah,
Zoom.
easy. Zoom.
So,
It's
Zoom
possible.
calls. It's possible. It's happening.
So the Raiders will win that, I think, because it's down there, GIO Stadium, on a Saturday, I think 3 o'clock, miserable, cold, awful, and they've got a lot to play for.
Do you think 3 o'clock because you're looking at it and it says 3 o'clock?
I actually didn't even look. It said 3 o'clock because I just know it was the first one on a Saturday, you dick. I've actually
Super Saturday.
remember I used to play on a Saturday, mate,
Yeah,
but it was 2
sometimes.
o'clock sometimes.
Yeah, you had. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you just got there early because you love footy so much.
Yeah, I was just
You
watching
used to
Reggie's
turn
the
up,
whole time.
Just watching SG ball. Sharks.
Harold Matt's all the way to Reggie's, and then I'm there at 9 o'clock on a 7:30 start.
Sharks against the Bulldogs. You know what? The Bulldogs. I saw someone say that the Bulldogs, the way they've been playing, sides have worked it out. I was like, what do you mean? People say this stuff. I'm like, they've been playing a good style of footy, and then they've had a couple of bad weeks because they're tired and they got nothing really to play for. They're not trying anyway.
No, they just it was just mate, they played against a fair side. Parramatta are a good side.
When they get
and you
on.
don't think that Parramatta didn't have that in the back of their head that they got pumped by the Bulldogs that last game?
Yeah,
That was in the back of their head.
yeah.
We got a lot to work on, but it's like Parramatta were on. It's at Parramatta Stadium. It was fucking sold out. That is one of the best games you can play in. Saturday on a Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was, like against Parramatta at Para Stadium, the walls that we used to have there was amazing.
But it's also
We used to beat the shit out of them.
when you're on those games, yeah, of course you did. When those games go like that, and you look at those little kicks that go through, and they always find the hand, and
everything
you're like,
found. I mean, everything they did was just like bang.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh god,
No luck.
We didn't. Our defense was decimated in the middles. We got sort of ran through, and on the edge, we got exposed on the edge. But they played some good football. Ryan Madison played outstanding. Junior Paulo and Lane, and they were creating some good football. And the score didn't say the Bulldogs. Were
Yeah,
that far
no,
off,
it
you know what
wasn't,
I mean,
yeah.
it should have been. They struggled to score.
and it blew late too.
It did, yeah. About three or four tries in like 10 minutes. So, it is what it is. As long as we can salvage something. Sharks are a good team.
They are a good side.
Shark Park. Are they a chance, the Sharks?
Look, I reckon it has opened up a bit. You'd have to say Penrith are strong favourites still, despite you look at the Roosters and the Rabbitohs making a lake run. Although to be fair, if the Rabbitohs can't beat Penrith, without Luai and Cleary. They're probably going to, that was probably their time to show that they were up there. But, Sharks got to be in the conversation. I honestly
They're a
think
good team, man.
they're a good side. So,
what if it finishes like? Imagine if the Panthers play Storm in the first one. Well, I mean, top four is different. You get 2 cracks.
It's
all good.
The Rabbitohs Cowboys. Why are the Rabbitohs such? Is this in relation to Tom Dearden being out? Do you reckon? Like,
Yeah, I think Tom Dearden. He's one of the best.
Phenomenal
He's
season.
great.
Yeah.
They'll miss him. I'm not sure who they're going to put at 6. I would not have a clue.
maybe Ben Hampton.
Yeah, they've still got
They've
some
few.
really good depth.
Yeah.
I'll just check their team. Just wait.
Well, they might
Drinkwater could
to
drink.
5'8"
Drinkwater and the hammer.
Hammer at
Yeah,
fullback.
well, that's what I'd do because he can play. Drinkwater can play.
He's good. Well, I think
he's been to the. I mean, he was there last year, was he? But he had an ACL problem.
Yeah, he's been killing it this year. Like he just offers. He's another one of these like cookie cutter fullbacks that just comes into the line and creates threats wherever he goes, and to defend it is difficult because you just don't know where he's going to pop up. They just get these license to roam. They come into
Team
the line.
lists aren't even out. I forgot Tuesday
because we're early this week.
Yeah.
We are early, so that'll be a good game. Yeah, that will be a good game, and I think that the Rabbitohs should not be as red hot favourites as what they are there.
Not if you can put Hammer at fullback.
Yeah, and Drinkwater in.
And put Drinky there, and then just put probably another big forward there on the bench.
The Tigers and the Dragons. The biggest news out of the Dragons camp is that there are rumours coming out that they've lowballed Ben Hunt. So they've offered him 700.
Is he off contract?
He's off contract, yeah. And they've offered him 700. There'd be a few other clubs. The way he's been playing and the way he performed in Origin, there'd be a fair few clubs. I mean, he's more than
30,
likely
what,
going to
31, 32?
He'll likely get the Dally M.
But he's 31, 32. As I said, like Townsend and Reynolds, all they've done is just help those older, aging halfbacks get that money, get
that's
that
right.
bag, get the bag, and you're going to get a heap too. They can't lowball him 700. You get Reynolds on what 1.1 or something, and same
exactly.
age.
Yeah,
Nowhere near the players Ben Hunt.
yeah.
Ben Hunt's been carrying that team for 3 years. Like St George, they're going to be fucked next year. They've bought no one. They've lost Tarek Sims. They probably might lose Ben Hunt. Like he's still he's a top 5 halfback. I'll go Cleary. I go Jerome Smith, Jerome Hughes.
Jerome Smith
Hughes.
plays in Super League.
Yeah,
Good player. Plays for League.
And then I'd have DCE Ben Hunt around 3rd and 4th. That's my top 3 or 4. Everyone else should be in reserve grade.
The Dragons. I hope the Tigers win that. For all you Tigers fans out there, I'm going to change my tip. Just in solidarity. I'm so far ahead of everyone else I can do that. The Titans. Fafita, I tell you what, Fafita, he's been starting to get the ball. They've decided to pass the ball to him.
In a good position.
You know what I mean? It's like, look what happens.
I don't understand. Why would you do that to that kid? Put him in position like Kieran Foran will be the best thing
100%.
that ever happened to David Fafita on that left edge or right edge because that Therma kid, he's been really. I think he's probably been their best player.
He has definitely.
Him and Big Tino. So one of them will get Player of the Year. But like the way that who was it? Sexton and like Brimson have been there. Sexton's petrified of the line.
Well, he's gone. Tanner, he'll be brought back this week. Tanner Boyd was going all right there.
Tanner Boyd's not too bad, but then you've got like a guy like Kieran Foran who goes to the line. You know what I mean? He'll cop that hit, and Fafita will be getting a lot of ball.
And Verrills as well at 9. They
got Verrills too.
Yeah, so he's
okay. Good.
You'll see Fafita, I think, come in for those, especially close to the line. Verrills is really good at that.
He's great.
Flat ball. So
you just got to coach. You just got to coach him right. I'm not sure if Holbrook's going to be there next year or whatever's happening. But
Cameron Serraldo's coaching him.
I think Cam's going to do that as well.
He's on Zoom with them too. I'll tell you what's funny though. I look at when
They're
David
$1.45.
Yeah, I know. No one's obviously looked at the table there. The Knights aren't going that bad either.
Knights are good, mate.
I think the Knights are probably a bit hard done by in that, but I think if you look at David Fafita now and the amount that he's copped over the last little while, and you just think finally at the last couple of rounds. They're starting to put him in the right position, and I think it's because Tanner Boyd was there too.
I think Tanner Boyd will be there long. He'll be the 7 because he hits hard.
Yeah.
He kicks good. He's got all the variables to be a really good half. I think. You know, like 9s and 7s are pretty similar, but like I think his defence is way better than Sexton's.
And I think as a coach, and I'd be like, you know what? Let's unleash David Fafita in the last 2 rounds when we're coming second last. That's the best time. I'm going to get my highest paid player, and we are going to unleash him.
Willie's Big Boys.
All right, guys. There's never ever any stoppage with the big boys. They just keep dominating every game. So I'll get straight into it. One vote. I'm going off because I reckon this game was pretty tough. One vote goes to Big Papa for against Newcastle because I think he made a couple of line breaks real late in the game that got him over the line. You know, that was just clutch from Big Papa there. So 1 point to him. And Joey Tapine, I think they're the best 1-2 punch in the game. Honestly, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree.
Like he made 160 metres, and Joey would have had that in his head, like he's a Newcastle junior, and they let him go, and he would have been pissed off. So he would have taken it out on them. His offloads, their second phase, but like because Tapine passed it to Big Papa, made that line break back to Tapine, then Tapine back to someone else, and they score. Like it was amazing. You know what I mean? That was coming out of yardage when the game was quite even. So that was just a clutch play. And Newcastle had everything to play for. They had a big week this week, obviously with all the bullshit that happened last week. So they really wanted to play. They're hard to beat on a Sunday, and Canberra got the job done. So that's why I'm giving to him. And I just can't go past the biggest boy of them all, Nelson Asafa Solomona. Did you see what he did to that young kid?
He is such a huge
He's fucking
human being.
huge.
He's such a monster.
I'll give you some stats of what he did. He played in the right side back row, played 80 minutes. What did he play, 80 minutes? No, 70 minutes. 17 hit-ups, 193 metres, 94 post-contact, 19 tackles, 1 miss, about 700 offloads.
Officially
and
on Fox Sports.
terrorised that poor young kid. I mean, he did one bad thing in the first half where he tried to get a little bit fancy and flick pass, and then it nearly went out, and then tried to pass it back in, and Capewell got it and scored.
Good luck for trying, though. I think good.
It was
points
like,
for effort.
It was just like zero fucks. Like, I'll get this out there. It was just like, I'm on here. And I think he would have got the absolute biggest roasting from Belly because it was quite even at that time. And then he comes out in the second half, played like a big man, just got early ball on the edge, just like elbows, knees at that poor little man. What's his name?
Man,
Isra Man. Like and he's not a bad defender, Isra Man. But bro, Nelson is a big boy. Like everyone says he's 120. He's fucking not that. He's about 125, 26 kilos. 6'6", 6'7", big, angry, aggressive, quick, good footwork. Like I think if they can get another prop just to do, you know.
You reckon he stays on the edge?
I reckon in certain areas on the field, I think he should be out on an edge.
Yeah.
I think he should be able to do both. I remember when I was playing, there was no real position for me. I could be in the middle or I could get on the edge when we got out a little bit wider, on the right or left. I just think you just waste him in the middle. You know, unless he's going to come off the 9 near the line near Harry Grant. Harry Grant was fucking outstanding as well. So but like, if not, why not use him out wide? You know what I mean? Like, especially in the red zone, like you got to put 2 people on him. So if he runs that line in between the 4 and 3 man, just at that lead line on both sides of the ruck, like you've got to commit to him. Early ball, like he's come up, like it'll be hard. Like, and I think him playing on an edge there and just causing so much havoc. And that, as I said, Ezra Man is a good defender. Most of these halves ain't good defenders. He's going to terrorise everyone from here on in. I think they've sort of found what he can do. He can be in the middle, he can do that tough stuff, he can get out wide and destroy people. So, anyway, leaderboard, 3rd, Big Campbell Gillard's on 11, 2nd, Fisher Harris and Junior Paul on 13, and still coming first is Jaxon Paulo. So, Big JT's up there. He needs a good couple of games to finish off and he'll probably get it.
Well, last week again was awful on the punt for us. And this week, though, I've been saying that recently, but I feel comfortable that there's some good bets here. And if we don't win, then I'll be setting up a burner account, Derek Halfabar, and I'll be sending very, very angry Twitter to all of the players here, except there was no anytime try scorer market, so I'll just have to send it to like the Roosters account.
I can't believe I nearly won last week.
I can't believe you nearly won either.
And I studied the guide so much.
Well, you've studied it this week. Yours
Yeah,
is
of
actually right
course.
this week. What have I got? I got the Roosters with 5.5 because I think the Roosters will actually win that game. But I'm taking the start because I'm sooky.
Yeah.
The Rabbitohs 1-12. I think the Cowboys, there's no way that's a blowout. I don't care what the markets say.
Nah.
And the Eels with 3.5 against the Broncos. No, to cover 3.5. I think that is. I think they're favourites. So I think 3.5
Okay.
start. I can't remember now what I said, but I'd said that anyway. I'm going to win $550, and most importantly, 52 cents.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
what
best
I was
bit.
looking at. So what is mine? Broncos versus Eels. I
So
think it'll be
over
47.5
point scores.
point scores. Rabbits to win, Titans to win, Tigers to win
With 7.5.
with the 7.5 start, and Bulldogs. I'll take the start at 22.5 points. So does that mean
That's a big start. So whatever, the
So
Bulldogs.
they can't
plus
get beat by
22.
22 and I win?
Yeah.
Come on, boys. Don't get flogged. You'll be fine.
You should give a pre-match speech, actually. Just mention your multi in it.
Come on.
Go out there and try
I have
hard
a proper agenda when
for
I'm
my
out
multi. And it's last game too, isn't
there.
it?
At Shark Park.
Oh, no, it's not. It'll be already.
It'll be
I
at
don't know why
Shark
that's in the
Park.
middle. And then the
I'll be winning
producer.
$765.50.
It's a lot of money. 50 cents. 50 cents.
Oh, 50.
And then the producer's gone Eels, Roosters, Rabbitohs, Dragons. God, he's embarrassing. Honestly, he has just offered nothing this
He
year.
has one nut and he's embarrassing. He's the worst punter of all time.
He's got the other one.
So what's he got? He's going to win 440 because you missed a zero there.
You just did maths in your head. Well done. So he's going to win $44.50 because we're going to tax the other 400 ourselves. Because he's such a shit bloke.
All right. Tips. I'm going Eels, Panthers, Storm, Raiders, Bulldogs, Cowboys, Dragons, and Titans.
I'm going Eels, Panthers, Roosters, Raiders, Sharks, Rabbitohs, Tigers now,
All right.
and Titans. That's just for all of our Tigers fans. And then we've got the producer is going, I don't care what he's going.
Eels, Panthers, Roosters, Eagles, Sharks, Cowboys, Dragons, Titans. All right. Well,
So, just quickly, before we go into this Twitter, I've just got a message from Whip, actually, because I messaged him before. So our good friend Ryan Clark has just swum the English Channel in 9 hours and 40 minutes, which is a massive effort.
took your time.
Covered in duck fat.
Took his time, eh?
That's going up as that's my screenshot now with the duck fat on him. But congratulations to Ryan. Him and Luke Stewart, who's doing the ice mile next week, which is you got to swim 1.5 kilometres in 4-degree water and then stay awake for 45 minutes and not pass out after the race.
What do you do that for?
Well, because he couldn't do the
God.
he couldn't do the
It's a
channel.
massive effort, Whip.
Massive.
Good on you, mate. And
So
it's for a
massive.
good cause too, isn't it?
Ocean
Tell the
Heroes.
people.
So Ocean Heroes, where basically they take Ryan's obviously been involved with the water. He's been down at surfing at Bronny since he could stand up really, and his two boys are both really good little surfers in Bronny board riders. And Ocean Heroes takes underprivileged and disabled children and teaches them how to surf, autistic kids, and that. It's just
that's awesome.
a fantastic.
They've raised what, over 100 grand already? So
Close to 100.
that's
yeah,
massive.
So
So-
well done, Whip.
good on you, Whippy.
Enjoy Ibiza.
Yeah.
All right, so the Twitter, I forgot to put the Twitters up, but I did it this morning, and we've got one. It's more of a question, more of a statement. It wanted to say how much they enjoyed the Broncos versus Knights women's NRLW on Sunday. First one he's watched, great skill, commitment, entertainment after a weekend of NRL blowouts. That's good. Well done. Old enough. You know what? That is good. That women's game is going from strength to strength, which is
I think it just becomes
Great.
It's great because they're nearly full-time athletes now. So you're going to get the training's going to become better. They'll get more continuity. You're going to have better coaches in there. You know, the girls' game, Newcastle, and they're evening the comp out. They're getting because Brisbane was so dominant. They're getting people out of Brisbane. It's like a draft sort of thing, to put them in other teams to make them stronger. So it's not that real dominant Brisbane Broncos side because it's pretty much like the Queensland side. It was that for about 3 years. That's why they kept winning it. Newcastle's got a side in there. A lot of teams in about probably 2 or 3 years. I reckon there'll be 10 teams. So yeah, it was the quality has picked up a heap. They hit hard, they run hard. They've got their skill sets picked up. They don't play as much structure as the NRL, which is good. So they play a bit more free flowing, which is good to see. So yeah, some good football.
And also, if you're watching NRL, then give a license to the Tigers, stack their entire team with every single Australian player, and let them win a comp, just to make up. So I'm all for hashtag NRLW Tigers. All right, well that's it. That was good. I'm going to go off now and watch my goddaughter get an award. Congratulations, Charlotte. And it's her birthday too.
We'll be tweeting all week. Not all week.
All week.
All week. So from Thursday, masonstake.com. Rate, review, all that kind of stuff. Ask some more questions. These are pretty easy questions. They're very basic.
Ask some more questions.
See you
next week.
They'll be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL is Willie Mason.
I've forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake Media Network.